Right, Coach.
Guys ready to rock? Well, Merry Christmas to everyone. Appreciate your guys' time on a Monday. We got the Idaho Potato Bowl about to kick off here in about a half an hour. But Merry Christmas, guys. And, I really do, it's such a special time. Jesus is the reason for this season. It's not about just Santa Claus and Christmas trees. It's about, our Lord and Savior coming to earth to save us from our sins. And that's something that I even remind my little daughters about as we're running around trying to get them gifts. And I have not shopped for my wife yet, but you better believe I will be out and about today shopping for her. But Jesus is the reason for this season. I'm so thankful for this time of year. Thankful to be around you guys and excited where our team is growing to. Had a good couple weeks getting some guys that have been banged up healthy. And so we had a practice today. Our guys are going to have Christmas Eve and Christmas off along with the staff, and then we'll be back. The 26th is the game week Monday, and we'll hit the ground rolling. But we're in a good place. We got to keep growing and earn the right to play our best on the 31st, and that's exactly what Penn State's going to work to do as well. Think the world of their team. Don't know Coach Franklin, but think very highly of him. A ton of respect for him, what he's done over the years, what he's done this season. I mean, they're a touchdown away from being the Big Ten champs and probably being the number one overall seed in the playoffs. So, ton of respect for him as a coach. I have followed his journey for a long time. He's done a phenomenal job. And really, in all three phases, they're playing their best football. I mean, what they're able to do against SMU on Saturday. I mean, that's very, very impressive. I mean, they were able to about 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they were able to rest their guys in a playoff game. That's a testament to their team. Offensively, they put you in a lot of conflict. I mean, their new offensive coordinator, Andy, does a phenomenal job shifting, motioning, bunch of different personnels, and they're very, very talented across the board. So we got to do a great job with our communication and our eye control, just to deal with all the pre-snap issues, along with a lot of schematics that attack you. I think we're going to defend two of the best running backs we've seen all year, and I don't even know if it's close. I mean, these two backs are elite. Not only do they have the top end speed, but they can also break any arm tackle you come with, and they got one of the best tight ends in the entire country. Going to be a first day draft pick, and it's deserved. What I love about Tyler, number 44, is he's not just a pass catcher, which he is. He'll line up at Wildcat. He catches a ton of balls, but he's also, man, he is extremely physical at the point of attack in the run game. And they got multiple tight ends with him. They got a bunch of receivers that got a ton of juice to stretch you vertically. And I mean, their quarterback's an NFL type kid. I mean, he's long, can run when the pocket breaks down, do have some design runs that we got to be ready for, and he can make the big boy throw. So offensively, they put you in a lot of conflict, and we got our work cut out for us. Defensively, I mean, it was on full display what they did this weekend versus SMU. I mean, they one of the best fronts we've seen all season. Obviously, everybody knows about Abdul Carter, number 11. I mean, an elite edge rusher. And talk about a young man that's relentless to the football on both sides, number 33 as well. I mean, relentless to get to the quarterback. Kobe, number 41, their linebacker, can go sideline to sideline. Really like their safety, number one. So they've got a bunch of players on defense that are absolute relentless. They're extremely talented. They play really well together. And it's really hard to get them misaligned, even on shifts and motions and different things. I mean, they're very well coached. Coach Allen's done a really good job with that unit. They get lined up, they're all on the same page, and then they pin their ears back and they're on the attack. One of the top run defense in the country, one of the top defense in the country in regards to points scored against them. So we got our work cut out for us on that end. And then special teams wise, they've done a really good job. And they got elite returners, punt return and kickoff return, and they're going to obviously be aggressive. I mean, phenomenal call by Coach Franklin versus Minnesota on the fake punt that went for 50 to essentially ice the game. And they're going to be on the attack special teams wise, and they're extremely physical on special teams too. Number 0, one of their defensive players does a phenomenal job in all three units. We got to know where he is at all times, and they play their best players on special teams. So we got our work cut out for us. It's a phenomenal opponent that we're going to meet down in Arizona, and we're excited to go put the ball down.
Is there anything you mentioned getting guys healthy? Are you willing to say anything about Tubner or any of these guys that have been out?
Yeah, Tubes is practicing today, so he's in a really good place. BJ, he'll definitely be available for the game. We're just going to continue to work through what that looks like, but he's able to get a lot more reps than he was. He was able to play a little bit in the championship game, not as much as we wanted. That's just because he's an absolute warrior, but he's doing a good job to get back healthy. We'll see exactly what his reps are going to look like in the game, but he was able to get some reps at practice today.
Any chance for Gaines?
We'll see. He did some stuff at practice today. He looks really good. What's it going to look like from the game? It's going to be same thing. It's going to be I don't want to say a game time decision, BJ, but it'll be game week.
Is it like consuming a game for you on Saturday, watching, kind of you've known that you're playing in this game for 2 weeks now, but you kind of had to wait until this weekend to figure out who. So what was it like for you guys just kind of watching this, and how did you choose to watch it?
Yes, we finished our recruiting official visit on Saturday right before the game started. But one of my favorite things, I remember talking about my daughter's four-year-old birthday was Saturday, day of the game. And I remember I got to do a much better job communicating with my wife as the week goes, which I'm growing in, thank the Lord. And I remember on Friday talking to her about like, man, I can't wait to finish the official visit, come home, 10 a.m. kick, watch the game. And she's like, we're going to Fly High jump time for your daughter's birthday at 10 o'clock. So I was like, ooh, probably should have done a much better job planning for this. But my wife's a rock star. We pivoted, so we were able to go to Fly High, the trampoline park later in the day. So I was able to watch it at home with the family. And our staff did the same, went home and watched with their family, same with our players. And sat on my couch and was, like I said, very impressed. Knew what we were going to see from Penn State. A lot of respect for SMU, too. I watched their game versus Clemson, a couple other games, and prep for them as well. But, I mean, Penn State, on full display, they're one of the best teams in the country.
Surviving trampolines?
I did, barely. Our 2.5-year-old daughter is absolutely fearless, and she took a couple big shots from some big kids, and I thought it was going to go down. So we're all right.
Watching the game live, what was the biggest thing that stood out with Penn State?
Just how well coached they are. I mean, there's in all three phases. I mean, you talk about from the start of the game to the end. I mean, creating takeaways by their defense. I mean, just started so fast. There wasn't any working of the game. In all three phases, they're extremely well coached, very, very talented across the board, but they're not just out there running around. They're extremely well coached. They're disciplined in all three phases. And obviously when you watch the film, you could slow it down in your office, but even watching it live, I think was on full display for me.
So after 2 big sixes and no interception. How confident are you, but also how much of an emphasis is it with Maddox just for that ball security and being careful in this game?
Yeah, the turnover margin's huge in every game. That's kind of the thing I talk to our team. This is, the quarterfinal, Fiesta Bowl, a lot of hype, a lot of buzz about the game, as there should be. But we got to earn the right to play our best through our prep. And no different for either team. It's nobody needs to go out there and put on their Superman cape. We need to focus on the fundamentals, techniques that equate to playing really good football. And one of the biggest ones is the turnover margin, taking care of the football on offense, taking away on defense in any game you play. Not just because of the Fiesta Bowl, and obviously their defense does a really good job taking the ball away. We got to be smart with the football. Maddox has shown that he will do that. I mean, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the country in regards to touchdown interception ratio, but they do a great job with their front creating pressure, and then there's some errant throws, and their DBs can lock people down, and so it's we're going to be in conflict as an offense. So we're very aware of the task at hand and how talented and well coached they are. But I'm proud of our guys and what they've done to this point, and I know our guys will be ready for that challenge. But the turnover margin is going to be huge in this game. The explosive battle is going to be huge in this game. Those two stats are really what are going to correlate the most to winning in any game you play. Obviously, especially the Fiesta Bowl, and in big games or whatever you want to slate them. Really in any game, but you can't beat yourself. You gotta make the plays you should make. Don't beat yourself. Stay relentless. This is a really good football team we're playing. It's going to be a heavyweight fight. We can't beat ourselves. We got to stay in it, punch after punch, and we're going to earn the right to play our best.
Brought up Tyler Warren a little bit earlier. Is he one of, if not the most unique player you faced this year? I mean, he does everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tyler Warren is elite, and that's not just my opinion. I'm very positive he's going to be probably the first tight end taken off the board in the NFL draft because of that. I mean, he can do it all. More times than not, when you see a tight end, he's a really good pass catcher, and you got to deal with that. Or he's really dominant and physical at the point of attack in the run game. With Tyler Warren, he does it all. I mean, he is extremely violent at the point of attack, either at the front side of a play or on the backside rim of a play. He can catch every ball. I mean, he's one of their top targets in all downs. And he can play wildcat and throw the ball too. So, I mean, you talk about just an extremely gifted athlete. We got to know where 44 is at all times. And even when you got him covered, he's the type of athlete that he's still not covered because of how tall he is, how athletic he is. He can go up and get those jump balls anytime he wants.
The please count us out phrase you had turned into a shirt and is kind of taking on a mind of its own here. But it seems like there's been no shortage of that even in the last couple of days. Not a lot of people giving you guys a chance. The point spread's double digits. I mean, I don't know if you're surprised by that. Do you see it as disrespectful at all? Just your take on how I've yet to see one kind of national person give you a chance to win this game.
Yeah, BJ. I mean, that's our mentality here. Not just for this game playing the Fiesta Bowl, but that's what Boise State's been built on. And we got to earn our right through our prep to go play our best against one of the top football teams in the country. But I believe in our team, and that's why we talk about. Please count us out. People do, media or people count us out because I know how we're going to work, and I know we're going to work to play our absolute best on the 31st. So if nobody gives us a chance, if the point spread continues to grow, whatever. And I tell people too, like, hey, use this as motivation. This team doesn't need any more motivation. Like, we've been in playoff football since September, and it's 1 week at a time, working to play our best, counting us out. Oh, you can't keep this up, or what's going to happen? And our guys continue to work, continue to do what's required of them, and continue to improve every week. So, all the outside noise of people counting us out, awesome. We've been with the outside noise of everybody saying how great we are. On either side, you got to block the outside noise, and I believe that. Like, please count us out. I mean, that's what Boise State football has been built on is people thinking we can't do something, and we work our tails off to find a way to prove people wrong. And that's what I believe in our team. Wherever and we use the phrase "put the ball down." Like, where it doesn't matter the stadium, doesn't matter what fans are there. Like, on the 31st, put the ball down. We're gonna be ready.
Those tweets and things when people say that, I mean, are you sending out daily, text to the team with that stuff? Do you play? I mean, I know you say you block it out, but are you making sure the players are aware of some of this?
Yeah, I think it's just for me with no different from the times that we were picked to beat a team by, a ton of points or whatever the game is. When we talk about outside noise, like, I'm very direct with our players on what is going on. Not because I don't want, if I'm not, they're going to fill in the gaps from outside sources, either family or media or anything. So I'm very direct with our team on what is about to happen. What do we expect from either the team we're playing, from the environment, from the media? And so we talk about those things like, hey, right now, nobody thinks you can win this game. Perfect. There's been games I said everybody thinks you're going to win, but you could still lose it very quickly. And so I'm very direct with our team on, hey, guys, nobody thinks you can win this game. Every single person in this team room, me included, has been counted out in their life. You can talk about it. You can feel bad. You can use it to motivate you. At the end of the day, all that matters is the work you put in. And that's what we have to do through the next 8 days. If we do that and we continue to focus on what matters, our work, we'll go play our best on the 31st. And once again, what I believe and what my message to the team is, your best is enough and your best is required. And I believe if we can continue to focus on those things, we'll be able to play our best. And I know it's going to be enough. And I know Penn State's doing the same thing. And like I said, ton of respect for them on who they are as an entire program, not only over the years, but how they're playing right now. They're playing their best football. And so that's my message to our team is, for us, we have to earn the right to go play our best, and not when we go put the ball down on the 31st. Like, that started 2 weeks ago, and it's every single day how we prep and recover to play our best.
Take some Zooms real fast. Rich from Reading Eagle, go ahead.
Thank you, Spencer. Merry Christmas to you and your family. We know about Ashton's statistics. We've seen the numbers. Can you tell us, the people who cover Penn State, what makes him so special?
Yeah, good question. First off, he's a 10 out of 10 human being. And I want people even watching on either side, obviously, especially Penn State, that haven't probably focused on Ashton a lot prior to this week. He's a unanimous captain. He's one of the best leaders and one of the hardest workers we've ever had here at Boise State. He's a generational football talent, but also a generational leader and teammate here at Boise State. And then outside of the stats, Ashton puts people in conflict whenever he runs the football. Like, that's something I know from being the defensive coordinator going against him for a couple years. But how do you deal with him? Do you settle your feet? If you settle your feet, he does have really good top end and can work around you. If you come in high, he's very powerful at the point of attack. So I just think he puts people in conflict on the football field, and he's a relentless competitor. And so proud of him and what he's been able to do through 13 games. And I know he knows, how talented this Penn State defense is, one of the top 10 defenses in stopping the run in a run-heavy league in the Big Ten, with a lot of respect for their conference. He's working his tail off to be able to play his best in the 31st too.
Okay, I'm going to go one or two more here on Zoom, just as they're showing up on my screen. Seth from State College.
Hey, Spencer, thanks for the time today. You talked about Penn State being able to stop the run efficiently. Have you seen any team that maybe compares to them that maybe you've coached against? And what specifically about them has made them such a successful defense at stopping the run?
Yeah, first off, Seth, good question. I think, when it comes to stopping the run, it's not one position group. I think a lot of focus usually goes to the defensive front, which it should be. They are at the point of attack. But what I respect Penn State for so much is that they are always on the same page. They're not going to give up no one in a gap, big runs, or no leverage to the defense. Like, they're very well coached. They've got good answers for whatever schemes you're going to give them. They align very well. The shifts and motions and odd formations, obviously going against their offense in fall camp has helped them as well. So they've got a phenomenal front that can impose their will on an offensive line. But once you create situations for their DBs and linebackers to tackle, they show up and make big tackles as well. So what I respect so much about their whole defense, especially with stopping the run, is how well they work together, and they're very assignment sound.
Okay, Jordan on Zoom.
Yeah, hey coach, thanks for taking the time today to talk with us. Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. So Coach Franklin touched on this from Penn State as well, and I think maybe you can offer more insight on this as a more inside perspective. But people may be surprised to see Boise State in this position, but he mentioned how he believes that the community, the administration, everything is in line there because everyone that's gone to Boise State has had success in their own ways, and now you are having the success at this level. What can you say about just how the administration, the university, the community impacts what you're able to do with this team and this program?
Yes, and it's everything. I mean, I have so much support. I mean, I really truly believe we have the best athletic director in the country, and Jeremiah Dickey. I mean, it's never no, I can't do that from him. It's always we'll figure it out. We'll find a way. Keep pushing forward. I mean, I am supported by our administration, supported by our staff, by our players, by the community. I mean, Bronco Nation, 7 games, 7 sellouts. I mean, across the board, the support that I feel as the head coach, and I know our team feels from our community and beyond, is through the roof. And even where, Boise State has been built on the backs of years and years of success way before I got here. And so even this season is not because of me, it's because a group of young men, wanted to leave a legacy, be different. We haven't been to the Fiesta Bowl in a decade. And they said in January, we're going to go get that done. And they went to work. And we do have the support from, like I said, our administration, our AD's a 10 out of 10, and Bronco Nation is a fan base that is near and dear to our heart that support us at all times. I know they'll show up in a major way down the Fiesta Bowl, but we might not have what everybody else has, but we definitely have enough, and we're going to continue to push forward.
Okay, we'll come back to Zoom, go back to the room here.
Spencer, kind of just along those lines, along we're talking about it. When I was in New York, I talked with JD, and he mentioned that he's trying to get a new contract for you, and he said the thing that was most important to you was taking care of your assistant coaches. What do you think needs to be done there to make sure that you're doing what you want to do to take care of those guys, and why is it such an important thing for you to take care of?
Yeah, Jay, for me, it's all about the people. It's all about the people. That's your staff and your players. First and foremost, your players, and then secondly, your staff. I mean, that's everything to me. Not just to be successful on the football field and continue to push forward for years to come, but the only reason I do this is to develop people. And so, Jeremiah Dickey's phenomenal. And so with the success comes trying to continue to push the needle. And that's my call to our supporters, to our administration, to the state, that, hey, we have more than enough this season. We're going to keep pushing forward. I'm not the guy that's looking at what everybody else has from either money or facilities or whatever. We have more than enough to be successful and play our best in these games coming forward. But it is something for me to use this to make sure we do sound the horn, and we do continue to need more. We do. And for us to continue to push forward where college football is, for our staff, for our players, we need to grow our staff salaries. We need to. And I know Jeremiah Dickey's aligned with that. We need to. We need to push the needle. If you look at where the games and the teams we have to beat at Boise State, like we've got to push the needle on our staff salaries. We've got to push the needle on the collective and the NIL space for our players. They deserve it. And so that is something I'm very open about, because we have the resources in this community. The Treasure Valley has it. The support for Boise State football and athletics, it is here. But we do gotta continue to push forward. What we did this year is not going to be enough going forward. No different a year from now. Like, we got to continue to push the needle, and it's all about people. And that's my biggest push. It ain't about me. It is about our staff and our players. And not saying we got to get all the way to where these other schools might be, but we got to get closer. We got to continue to push the needle and take steps towards where we need to be. And that's a big push for me now, especially when the season's over, because this is home for me. This isn't do a good job and go try and find another one. Like, this is home. This is where God's called me. And the success we're having this year as we continue to finish the season strong, and then it's going to be flip the switch and let's find a way to do it better next season in 25. Like, that's the push and that's the calling. And we need everybody's help to do that.
Thanks. So you've not been afraid to go for it on fourth down this season. Just a game of this magnitude, everything on the line. How do you balance risk versus reward? Does it change? Is it just going to be the same for you? What is it?
Yeah, going into every game's different. And me and our coordinators sit down and we have a coordinator meeting where we talk through it. Hey, what are the situations this game? We do, analytics does come into it, but then it's going to be where's our team at? Where's the situation we're going to go for it? What are the D&Ds that we're going to use that? When are we going to use some of our fake field goals, fake punts? That comes into it. So all those things are me working through with our staff, and just very similar to when I was a defensive coordinator and I went into a game with a game plan. I go into every game with a game plan for situational football, and from timeouts to when to go for it, when to, those are the moves I have to make as a head coach. I'm not calling any three phases, but those are the situations that I go in with a plan. And obviously, as a game goes, plans change, and I got to be aware of very adaptable as we work through these. But our players know too. Our players are very aware of the situations we're going to go for, the situations we're going to do these certain things, so we can practice them.
But what a kind of a benefit has Stacey Collins been in the
Yeah.
prep with his familiarity with Penn State?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, just like anything, he's been able to talk through some of the things they did there. He's able to talk through some of the personnel. Obviously, they hired a new special teams coordinator. They're doing some similar things, but they got a lot of new stuff they're using. So not so much a help maybe on that phase. But Stacey Collins, I mean, the amount of prep he goes into to be able to game plan all special teams. It's not like he only does, he does all of it, from the field goal block to all four units. So being able to have an idea of their personnel, knowing kind of a little bit about who these players are, some of the things they did last year, they do have some similarities. They have evolved and grown. It is helpful, but we're looking at it for face value for, okay, how can we play our best on special teams? And we have grown at the end of the season. We need to do a really good job winning the hidden yards in this game. It's going to be hard. They've played really good on special teams, extremely physical, very explosive, but being able to pick his brain every week we play some of special teams is huge for me, and game management as well. But it does help being that he was at Penn State and he can have a little bit of an inside view to some of the personnel.
Is he excited for this matchup, or what was
He is. I mean, Coach Collins, if you know him, he's excited for every matchup. I mean, you come in a special teams meeting and it's on. I mean, it is, no matter what time of day, it is on. It is SWAT on the ready, and you better be ready. So I know he's fired up for this game, but not just because it's Penn State. I mean, he knows this team, but we're as a whole team, we're fired up to put the ball down the 31st.
Games in the first round. The home team's got a big advantage. The weather, certainly to crowd. How much does it help having this game where it seems like it's going to be a level playing field? I mean, tons of Boise State people are going to be there. Weather's not going to be a factor, obviously, because of the dome. How much are we going to see maybe a better game because of the fact that everything seems to be pretty much even?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, Bob. I think just like anything, there is home field advantage. I mean, we feel that when we play on the blue. Obviously, Penn State feels it at home with 115,000 fans. They do a phenomenal job selling out. So when you play at a neutral site, I know Penn State's going to travel really well. I know Bronco Nation's going to travel really well. So it'll be a good mix of the fan bases down in Arizona, and the ball's going to be put down. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about our prep to go play our best. Where the game's being played, what fans are there, that is nothing that we control. But what we do control is our prep to go play our best, and especially not letting the moment become too big either. Like, that's where it all comes down to practice performance for us here. So you want to go play your best on the 31st. That's how I prep in my meetings, how I practice every single day. Because then on the 31st, I'm not going to say much to them. It's go cut it loose. you've earned the right to go play your best, go do it for each other. And that's what we're going to say on Tuesday, a week from now. So where the game's being played, neutral side, I think it does, quote unquote, even the playing field for both sides, but it's a football game. Go put the ball down. If it's on grass in the parking lot, it doesn't matter. I know we'll have 11 versus their 11. Let's go.
Sunday, 2 weeks ago about the time off and how it would benefit Ashton, but seeing him actually have time off and talking with him, like how much has this and will this help him, come New Year's Eve in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, Ashton Genty's a warrior. So even on the 13-game run, how he lived in the training room, how he was able to not only play in the games where the nation was watching with the amount of carries and yards and violent hits he took, he also was doing the same thing in practice, grinding to go play his best. So just like anything for him and our whole team, being able to have these couple weeks to get fresh, get healthy has been huge. But we've been on the practice field. I mean, that's why a firm believer in practice performance. We're not going out there walking through. Like, we have to grow and improve as a team. There's a lot of things through 13 games that we did well. There's still a lot of things through 13 games we have not done well that we have to fix. We have to have better answers schematically. We have to improve these fundamentals and techniques, and that's across the board. So it is a fine balance. Obviously, not playing a game decreases a lot of the violence and the physical shots our players are taking, but our guys have been practicing. I mean, we've been working. We need to. We know the opponent we're going to see here in 8 days, and we know they're going to be ready, and it's our job to make sure we are too.
When games like this come up, you're by nature, you can almost want to do more or practice more or more film study, but kind of your hallmark is efficiency and autonomy and trusting guys to do their jobs. And you're obviously even going to give them a couple of days off or whatever for Christmas. Like, have you had to fight the urge to do the opposite now that you're at this point, Spencer, or are you trusting the process?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm as you know, Jay, like, I focus on process over everything. And I think that's the way to stay consistent. So it's not, all right, here's the big game, so now we're going to change everything, and I'm going to try to micromanage everybody, and longer practices and more meetings. And to me, it's like every game's the most important game, so your process should continue to grow and be elite week to week to week, regardless of the opponent, regardless where the game's being played. And so no different going into the Fiesta Bowl, quarterfinals of the playoff. I just want to make sure we do our process better than we've ever done it. And that's the same way when we play UNLV in the championship, no different than the week prior. Like, we're always just trying to do us better. And that's no different for me. And so are there times that you kind of fight, well, we should probably do this? There is, absolutely. But I got a phenomenal staff around me. And being through this now for 13 games, like, I trust our process. I can't promise you what's going to happen on the 31st, but I do know if we trust our process, we find a way to do it better from our meetings to our practice. We're still very efficient at practice. We're not going longer. We're not doing extra meetings. Like, we put a premium on the time they're in this building. It is on. So that 30-minute meeting you got, like, you need to steal every second from that meeting. Because all of a sudden, because the playoff is not all of a sudden going to be an hour. Like, efficiency in our process and trust it. No different in our schemes. Like, we're going to have switch ups. We're going to have some different adjustments for Penn State, just like Penn State's going to have for us. But it's all going to come down to execution and to focus on execution so your team doesn't play slow. I believe in process, and I believe in rest and recovery. That's why I wanted our staff and our players to have Christmas Eve off, have Christmas off. They need that time. They're not going to get this Christmas back. Regardless what happens on the 31st, this time with their families, us included, you're not getting that back. My daughters aren't getting any younger. And that matters to me, and I believe that we've had a good process to this point. It's time to go recover and enjoy our families on the 26th. We got to get ready to go to work.
Zoom real fast. John, go ahead.
Spencer, just back to Tyler Warren. I know you were watching both Penn State and SMU before the game on Saturday. How quickly was it apparent what kind of challenge he'd be to cover, and what impresses you most about his game?
Yeah, I mean, prior to even watching the game this weekend versus SMU, I mean, even on the film study on the season he's had to date, and talking with a lot of coaches that have played against Tyler, every single one of them just talked about how elite he was in every phase of the game. The second we talked to defensive coordinators that have played against Penn State, the first guy they all brought up was Tyler Ward, and was just, he is better than maybe you might even think he is. Like, it's one of those where you keep waiting for, okay, what are some flaws in his game? Is someone going to find something even when you're watching film? If there are any, it's hard to find because what he's able to do in the pass game, in the run game, as a quarterback, I mean, he's one of the best I've seen in a long time. And he's a huge part of what they do offensively and as a team.
Colton, go ahead.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks for the time. Yeah, just wanted to get your thoughts. Obviously, being now in the CFP quarterfinals, a big topic of discussion right now is the format and which teams deserve to be in or out. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the format overall, and just, why do you think your team deserves to be in the position that it is, with the bye and everything?
Yeah, good question. I mean, in regards to the format, and I'm asked about a lot of questions that I don't control. I'm asked about transfer portal. I'm asked about NIL. I'm asked about college football playoff format. Those are no things that I decide. And so when the college football playoff came out and how the format was going to happen, that's what we went on to attack. And looking at it from our team in the offseason, we knew that we had to, each game was a playoff game. And what that would mean at the end of the season was up to us handling week to week. At the end of the season, at 12-1, winning our Mountain West Conference championship game, fully believing we deserve the right to get a first round bye. If that didn't happen, if all of a sudden they put us at a different seed, we'd be fired up to play the game. Because those are things we don't control. I'm not on the college football playoff committee. They're not calling me to ask me how I should change it. So it's not something that I think about a lot. I do believe our team has earned the right through 13 games to get a first round bye and play in the Fiesta Bowl. I believe that. I tell teams to, watch the film. That's everybody knew going into this season what the playoff format was. And it was our job to handle every single week through the regular season to win a championship, to put ourselves in this situation. But in regards to the future and the format, it's not something that I control, so I don't put a lot of thought into it. But I do love the college football playoff as an expansion because it gives everybody a shot. What's going to happen at the end of the year? Who's going to win the national championship? Nobody knows. But across all FBS teams, when you start the season, everybody's at a level playing field. Everybody's got a shot. And then you got to go earn the right to win the game so that you can get in.
Okay, Jared on Zoom.
Coach, Merry Christmas and thanks for having this today. I wanted to ask you a little bit on the Penn State side. We obviously don't know a lot about Boise State, but what makes you, Spencer Danielson, you as a coach and as a man of Christ?
Yeah, it's something that I'm very, open about. I really do believe that the only reason I'm the head coach here is that Jesus put me here to develop people. Some people might not like that I say that, but I truly do believe that. And everything I focus on is developing these young men for life. That doesn't mean that there's not a driving passion with every single game we play. I mean, it says in the Bible, run the race to win. And that's in everything you do in life. And that's my message to our players is, in life, you can't take losses. If you take too many losses as a husband, you're going to get a divorce. You take too many losses as a father, your kids aren't going to want to be around you. But it's all about developing these young men for life. And I know the more you develop them as men of character, men of integrity, men of discipline, so on and so forth, they're going to make the right decision on fourth down when the game's on the line. But that is a byproduct of developing them as people. And so that's something I'm very passionate about. There's still so many things that I'm excited to as a head coach to learn and grow in, but my drive and passion impact these people, these young men for life, long after football's over. That will never change.
Okay, Joe on Zoom, and we'll come back to the room.
Appreciate the time today, Coach, and wish you a Merry Christmas. So I asked last week before Penn State SMU, I asked Rhett Lashley about Abdul Carter, who you mentioned earlier. He said that based on the film, Abdul was the best defensive player SMU had to prepare for in his time there. So in your time at Boise State, including your years as an assistant, is there any opposing defensive player that you've seen at Abdul's level? And what are the challenges that come with preparing for a guy who not only is arguably the best defensive end in college football, but he's also talented enough to do damage at other positions on the field?
Yeah, good question. Regardless of Bill Carter, I mean, going back through our season this year, I don't think we've seen a defensive player like him. I mean, very, very impressed with his game. I mean, being able to transition from inside linebacker to edge and the success he's had, not just the statistics, which he has all those. I think he's got 11 sacks, bunch of TFLs, bunch of tackles. I love the relentlessness he plays with. And he's a guy that you better know where 11 is at all times. And just to give you the best shot to block him, to get hands on, because even if you slide to him, even if you chip him, I mean, he's so long, so explosive, has, you know, one of the most elite get-offs I've seen in a long time as an edge player that, I mean, he's a nightmare to deal with. And not only is he doing that in the pass game, like, I mean, the amount of plays I've seen him run down from the backside by relentless pursuit, I mean, is too many to count. So I love the way he plays the game. He plays it with his hair on fire, and he's a guy you better know where he's at all times and have an answer for. He's a game wrecker.
Anyone left in the room?
Is the uniform combo, you kind of let that out of the bag. What was there any at all doubt or question about that, and just kind of cool that you worked out, you got the pick and you're sticking with what's worked?
Yeah, there was no question about it, BJ. I am a huge fan of the all blues, the all blacks, and the all whites. I have zero swag. I have zero feel of what people might want, so I'm probably the wrong guy to ask. But I knew the second we were playing the Fiesta Bowl, that wasn't even going to be a conversation for me. And I said, whatever we did prior, I know that's what people are going to want. Let's let the fans happy, and our guys will put it on and go to work.
For Max Cutforth, I assume he's your number 2 now. What does he have to do now between now and game day to be ready for that position? And I don't know how much you want to go into it, but it seems like there was even a point in time during the season where he might have been, you know, pushing to be number 2 for a minute.
Yeah, Max has done a great job. I mean, as a redshirt freshman, a walk-on, just fighting his absolute tail off. Last year on scout team, the scout team quarterback is a nightmare job, and just doing it with a smile on his face and continue to get better. Coach Cutter's done a phenomenal job with Max, and seeing him, you know, as the 3 quarterback or the 3rd quarterback, you don't get a ton of reps through the season, but just seeing him even the past week and a half, the reps he's getting. I mean, we do 2-minute versus our defense, and seeing him operate, execute. I mean, Max Cutforth is going to be a really good player for us. And even seeing him today at practice, I mean, executing the offense, making the throws he needs to, being smart with the football. So all those things aside, being a redshirt freshman and he's doing a really good job. And we have full trust in him. And even talking to our leadership group, they brought that up too. Like, Coach, seeing Max the past week and a half, he's doing a great job. Like, we have full confidence in him. If Maddox goes down, like, Max, you're up, and let's go run the offense.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Merry Christmas, guys. Thank you.